reason that materials discovery is important in that space is that there are some technologies that exist today for carbon capture, but they're not terribly sophisticated. The ones that are being applied at scale are almost entirely amine-based solvents, which are things like monoethanolamine, which is not like a sophisticated material, but it happens to work pretty well, and it has, you know, some reasonable properties. It's pretty affordable. But these materials also have some pretty significant drawbacks. So when you bind the CO2 to them, you have to regenerate the solvent by heating it up and releasing the CO2 back into a stream where you can then pipe it off and do something else with it, like store it underground. That heat that's required to regenerate it is quite high. And so you actually get a thermal penalty, which is an energy penalty, which is actually a CO2 penalty. So you're
I was
actually
gonna say, we don't like that one. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So minimizing that has been a huge focus. They also degrade. So there's thermal and oxidative degradation, and those degradation products can actually get aerosolized, and then you have to remove those on top of removing the CO2. So it adds a lot of operational costs to the process. And then some of those degradation products are also caustic. So they cause all sorts of issues in the plant. And I mean, at the end of the day, it all kind of just boils down to cost of, like, there's CapEx and there's OpEx, right? There's capital expenditure and operating expenditure. And you want to minimize those as much as possible, because as it stands today, we don't have a lot of financial incentives to capture your CO2 other than like doing it out of the goodness of your heart and some minor tax incentives. So if we can bring that cost down, then we can start to drive adoption up and really make this a more viable, scalable technology. And one of the main ways of driving that cost down is by reducing or by improving the materials themselves.